So you come back to shamatha, you're just at a higher level. It's not as heavy-handed. It's like a light touch shamatha. I'm sailing. It's almost like it's very informed by my Papanchen experience. But nonetheless, this is shamatha now, baby. You don't have to grind it out quite so much, but you're doing the same thing. You're sharpening your one-pointedness. But you just don't have to do it with a sledgehammer anymore. You're doing it with a feather or whatever, it's just a lighter touch. It's the same thing. Then you get around, you practice shamatha, you practice shamatha, you practice shamatha. You got peace, you got peace, you got peace. But you just don't sit in your little cocoon and think I got me some peace. No. Everything's set at you. You step out of the town into the wilderness. You step out of your cave and face the great eastern sun. You slip out of your cocoon and experience something different. So, okay. We practice this way, we practice this way. And, we're amazed at how tight our neck is and we don't know it. It is totally amazing how tight my neck is. It is totally amazing that I don't know it, although you can miss this point. But don't miss this point because it's critical to overcoming ignorance and getting on with it. But it's just subtle. A lot of tension in the jaw. There's a whole lot of things. I don't know if this is exactly the right time, but I've spent hours, thousands of hours just opening and closing my jaw in a certain way. And that's related with the breathing, the ah. The whisper ah is related to this whole jaw. But that's not really, that's getting a little ahead of us. That's not the next step, probably. Could be. I'm not getting you this step yet, but I'll just point out a little something. The next step my teachers would do with me, well, it's just, it could be anything, but really the next thing they would do, they just put their hands, one hand here, one hand here, and they just hold my shoulder in a way. But maybe they would move it, they'd like to move it maybe that much just to show me the meaning of my shoulder and the meaning of how frozen my shoulder was. And I didn't know it. And I was never going to know it. You can get a little something going with your neck, but your shoulder, you're never going to know it. Your neck, it's easier to know, although, without freeing the neck, you ain't learning anything here. But so if I want to do this on my own, I would just sit here and I would move my shoulder so slowly, about that far, but so slowly. I'd move it forwards about that far, slow. And it's going to be hard to feel anything. My shoulder is so frozen, it's going to be hard to feel anything, but I will feel so, I'll begin to see how those muscles work, and then I'll go the other way. You don't need to go very far. If you go far, I don't know, I've never tried to go far. Maybe you go far, but this works, so just stick with this. It's almost like you're doing nothing with that shoulder, but you are just slowly, so slowly moving it back. It took me a long time before I understood this one. My teacher would do it for me, but I was thick as a brick, man. It took me years. It took me 25, 30 years to realize I could do this myself. Well, really? You can do it yourself? I didn't know that. And what they were really trying to point out, I spent so many years I got a little something going on my neck, but my shoulders, I never had a clue. I was so tense, so freaked out. I did a lot of Tai Chi, but I could never open that shoulder up with anything. But this little deal right here, if you do it enough, if you get after it, you work, you can unfreeze that shoulder a little bit and see the difference. That's the main thing we do in Alexander. We just show you these places and how to do it. It's possible to get some freedom. It's possible to get some, maybe that's too hard. It's like hard. It's a lot easier to do all these movements and with your arms and stuff, which is great. I mean, I spent so much time doing Tai Chi and Alexander, moving my arms and stuff, but I skipped this shoulder point and it was a grave error. My grave error is I didn't have the patience to even grok. And I need to sit here and spend a lot of time unlocking my shoulder. That's the best way forward, but you think it's no way forward at all, but trust me on this, work with it a little bit, spend some time on it, and you'll get a lot of benefit from it. There's a lot of stuff we do. There's a million and one things to do. This is something we like to do. I don't know. We're getting what's called a lunge. I've talked about the lunge before. Getting a lunge. And our hands, we just put over the back of a chair like that. Doesn't seem like much, but it really is something. You're getting your arms into a nicer, more beautiful form here, and maybe you can get in touch with a little bit of tension, and then we do all kinds of stuff. This is almost as much Qigong as it is Alexander, but I could be sitting in my chair, and my Alexander teacher she might be doing, she'll tell me just drop my arm completely, and she does all this for me. She does all this, and I'm so tense I can't relax and let her do it. That's also one way of getting at that shoulder. And sometimes they'll say, imagine your shoulder to be a fist, and just release that fist. Imagine your shoulder to be a fist, and just release that fist. We do this in Qigong. Maybe we follow good with our eyes and let our eyes lead the movement in a way. Usually my eyes would be frozen or a little behind, but I could let my eyes. We do this in Tai Chi. Tai Chi, we let the eye, or Qigong, we let the eyes kind of lead. Don't fall behind, lead, and it's very powerful. Don't fall behind, lead with your eyes and your head. I'm getting head, nice movements. We might do something called the monkey. I've showed you the monkey before. This is the monkey. We always think we're a little too backwards. So we just get a little forward. We want to learn forwardness. If you're sitting on a medication cushion, you want to learn forwardness. It has a lot to do with how you sit, but it has to do with the upper body. In Buddhism, we learn bowing all the time. This teaches you this forwardness. You know. And Alexander, your teacher, kind of does the same thing. She doesn't call it bowing, but this is how she begins to integrate. You'll be in a chair. She'll take you forward, but in a certain way, and you come up from your hips, and your whole thing goes forward to a certain point. You do a lot of that. Eventually, she'll get you out of the chair, which is art in itself, really, doing that freely. Then she'll put you back in the chair, which is even harder than getting out sometimes. They're both tricky. Maybe going this way is harder, but this one is no picnic. You do it wrong, you know. But you can learn to do it so beautifully. And then you're all integrated. You know, then all this stuff is integrated. So it's integrating a whole lot of stuff in and out of this chair, does it all in a certain way. Works on everything. But you know, when I'm on the cushion, when I'm meditating, you know, I might do a little stuff with my head. On one of my little breaks, I might just start practicing bowing. It's the same thing. Gets me forward, gets me on top of my sit bones. Good on top of my sit bones. Before I was not on top of my sit bones. And coming back, I'm careful to stay in front of my sit bones or on top of my sit bones, not slouch back. And just that little move is as important as anything you'll ever do in meditation. If you learn that move, that will get you down the road like you can't believe. Which is why they bow all the time. They bow all the time for the exact same reason. I mean, there's a lot to it. Bowing is profound, profound, profound. It's a gesture, but this is the gesture. Learning how to let your head lead. Then usually you're just going to go to hell right in here, but it's possible to lengthen. You're going to go to hell right here. You're going to slump. With the head lead, no need to slump, no need to slump. Bend from the waist. Why should you slump? There's no point in slumping, except that you're really used to slumping. And coming back is really the best. The best time is one where you really got a chance to put the whole thing together is when you come back, you know. Going is good, going is perfect intention. If you go wrong, it's not going to help anything. But right here, when you come back the right way, then that is it. That is it. It's not hard. You know, if you go right, it's not that hard, but who's got the patience to do it 100,000 times? Or, you know, just every time you meditate, you want to get a better posture going, and the way to get a better posture going is to get on top of your sit bones and get a little forward orientation, get this whole thing moving. So I do that. I used to, I mean, I don't need to do it anymore. I've just learned it, you know. But if I ever needed to, I would. And I'm always ready to bow to the situation. I'm always ready to offer my curiosity and interest and kindness and help and give what is willing to give what is required of a situation.